have to work with other people, and sometimes you don't want to. Sometimes they are in your face. God, I'm talking to myself too. But you still have to work with that person, so you have to lean over the shoulder and see what the result is that you want. You have to be the adult, and you have to let it go, because I can't run a race carrying your bags, my bags, and everybody else's bags.
I'm Dr. Kathy Martin, and I am living proof that LaSharon Combs, Coach Shay, and UCDI leadership processes and strategic avenues work.
Hello, hey guys, how you doing? Welcome. This is Sharon Combs with UCDI Leadership. Today I'm going to talk to you about TOP training, which is Think on Purpose. Think is more about being deliberate and intentional in your thought life, more so than just your purpose and destiny. It will entail that and it will overlap there, but it is about you actually taking charge of your thoughts, recognizing that your thoughts are designed to serve you and not vice versa. And so those are some of the things we're going to go over today. I'm really excited that you're here. I hope that this brings maybe some help and some clarity to you. Oh, wow. Face went big right there. So you guys can see, like, I'm just dropping in to do this. And I just want to talk with you a little bit about thinking on purpose. There are two words that come to mind immediately, which is transactional and transformational. When you decide to think on purpose and you're about being deliberate and intentional in your thought life, it will be transformational, not just transactional, not just quid pro quo. Well, I'm going to do this and 1 + 1 = 2. What you begin to do is you begin to get into exponential growth, exponential like development, so to speak. And so I want to talk to you about that. Some of you know I've spoken on stages about this. I've spoken on webinars, seminars, books. We're actually revising the book that was written in 2016. In 2016, it was 1/3 of individuals in America were struggling with their thought life. Not just thoughts of suicide, but just an unprecedented increase in anxiety, an unprecedented increase in depression. And I don't know, I subscribe to, I'm a person of faith. So I don't know if that tied into where hope was removed kind of from schools. I don't know what it was. I just saw what the result was and things I experienced myself and things that people near to me experienced. High anxiety, depression. People who never struggled with depression began to struggle with depression. And I truly believe it has to do with purpose. Purpose is one of the P's I teach on, not in this particular framework. In this framework, we really look at thinking on purpose, and we really talk about how your thoughts, again, they are designed to serve you, not vice versa. So I have all these things I want to tell you about. I just have them all right here, but I'm not going to right now. I will hit some of them, and the main point is your thoughts are designed to serve you and not vice versa. Often we are so caught up in, well, I don't want them to think. And whatever after them to think, it becomes the hamster wheel of thoughts, which is eating up your creativity, eating up your ingenuity, eating up your energy, what I call your energy budget. It's eating up so many things. Another thing that individuals think is they want to justify themselves before they do something. And I'm here to let you know, no need, just step out and do it and continue to get better at it. I believe much of the delay that we see in our lives has to do with the thoughts. And I don't think that's on accident. Again, I subscribe to biblical principles. I'm a person of faith. I think the enemy wants to eat up some of your time. His job is to steal, kill, and destroy. And so if he can steal your time, then he can kill your dreams. Message, if he can steal your time, he can kill your dreams. And so I want you to be able to kind of recognize some of the undermining thought processes so that when you see them, you recognize them. A lot of the things we fear is because it is unknown. If you look at learning how to get over fears in your own life, in regular life, you will find out that if you have a fear of, say, lizards, obviously not a kimono, is it kimono dragon? Because, run from that. Truly run from that. But things that you normally are afraid of, you are afraid of because you don't have knowledge of. And once you begin to get some knowledge over it and you begin to get some understanding of it, you begin to give it names and identify what it is, the fear decreases. Why? Because you've come out of the fear zone and you've moved into the learning zone. And when you're in the learning zone, Your brain is amazing. Everyone's brain is amazing. It'll do the heavy lifting for us if we will allow it. And so I want you to be able to recognize some of those undermining thought cycles and processes. This is what push means to us. Yes, pray until something happens, but also protest the underlying systems and habits. That's the push that I'm talking about. Because most of the things that grow in the dark and look stronger in the dark, you turn on the light and you realize it wasn't a monster, it was just your coat hanging on the door. You understand what I'm saying? And once you know what something is, the fear diminishes. And with Think on Purpose, we really want to look at that. We want to look at being deliberate and intentional in our thought lives, discern the origin and intent of something. Where did that thought come from? And what is the intent? If you continue to follow this thought, will you go after your dreams, or will you sit here and always have a reason, always have something to give as far as why you're not doing something? Will you always look to your Linus blanket to comfort you instead of realizing that you're fearfully and wonderfully made, and there are things inside of you that can help you overcome? Okay? Blood of the Lamb, remember, word of our testimony. So when you begin to move, your testimony begins to come into full fruition. You do have to move sometimes. I know, be still and see the salvation of the Lord, but you had to get to the point where you're going to be still, and now He's doing the work. I'll just let you think on that. All right, another thing is you want to replace the inner dialogue with empowering truth. Psychology, and all of these things, not only are they in the book, which is going to be coming up, re-released, the updated version, because it's way more than 1/3 of Americans now that struggle with their thought life. We're in 2025. We're going to release this. I'm telling you what, right now, people's thoughts are running away with them. You hear me? They are being led by their thoughts. And some of those thoughts are haphazard. They're not guarded. They're like, well, this is what they said here. They don't even know if it's information, misinformation, or disinformation. They just running with the thoughts. And so we want to be able to replace that destructive inner dialogue with empowering truth. Empowering truth. Truth that settles you. Truth that gives you peace, that guards the heart and the mind. So empowering truth. But you have to get the empowering truth. We have to replace it. You have to know what you're replacing. You can't just say, I'm not going to smoke. I'm not going to smoke. You're going to smoke. Why? Because you're focusing on the smoke. And whatever you focus on, you gravitate toward. Back in the country, they say, where you stare, you'll steer. So if you're looking at the cows over in the field, guess what? Your car is going to be able to go that way. Your feet will go that way. Whatever is your mode of transportation at the time, it's going to go toward what you're staring at. I always tell people, you see what you look for. And the non-spiritually mature may not get that. But what I'm saying is you see what you look for. If you're getting into a relationship and you're looking for it to go wrong, no worries, you'll see it. It may be 9 months in, it may be 9 years in, but you're going to see what you're looking for. And what's so sad about that is sometimes when you see what you look for, it becomes equal to all the things that have been going on before. So you got 8.5 years of amazing relationship. And you got one blip on your screen, and that blip becomes equal. That is a destructive inner dialogue, guys. That's something that is destructive. And so you also want to gain mastery over your cognizant command, which means once you identify these things and you realize where you are, you take authority. Cognizant command. You look at where your thoughts are and you say no, and you choose to think something else. If that means you ruminate, get a little timer. What Mel Robbins says, 5 seconds. Give you 5 seconds to feel the fear, and then you move. Whatever it is, you set that timer. I actually set a timer for about 5 minutes. I haven't done it in a while. I haven't had to. But I know, like, if you have been ruminating on something for more than 5 minutes, for me, some people need 30, some people need an hour, some people take a day. Think of everything that can go wrong. Ruminate on it. Sit in it. But when the timer goes off, put your mind on something else. And that's because you can. That's because you can. I'm going to tell you guys a story. And the reason I'm sharing this story is because it's difficult to master what you won't take time to understand. I heard that from Dr. Howard Hatcher. He's a great teacher, but he has such an insight into revelatory items. And he was like, it's difficult to master what you won't take time to understand. And that makes sense. How can you master something if you don't even understand how it works? So it's very difficult to do that. So the story I want to tell you is there was a season in my life and I had moved back to my home city. I was like, yeah, I'm going to kill the game. I'm coming from Atlanta back to this red state. I'm going to kill the game. You better believe it. I'm here. I was so full of myself. And once I was there, things didn't go as I thought they would go. And I began to get like a little frustrated, a little sad, because I felt like I was doing everything according to the rules. So many people right now are feeling like that. Here in 2025, I'm making this in October of 2025. So many people are like, look, we follow the rules. They believe they really did follow the rules. We've done everything we know to do. And it's like, where is our help? Where is the government? Where is our church? Where are our friends? Where's God? I'm struggling and I don't understand why I am going through this. First off, let me just let you know, adversity can be an amazing coach. You may be more resilient than you think. But in this season, people aren't looking for tips of resilience. Some of you are, and that's what we're here for. A lot of other people are like, hey, rescue me. Can I get some compassion? And so we don't want to be without compassion. But during that season in my life, I was like, look, I feel like I was supposed to come back here. My mom was living the last few years of her life. I was tying up loose ends. I was doing all the quote unquote right things. I was living what I thought was righteously. I wasn't engaged in just crazy sin. I'm sure sin was in there because I thought it was all about me. So definitely sin was in there. But I was doing all of those things, right? And I remember I was sitting on a couch. I'd already done the ugly cry where I was just like, mommy. I'd done all of that, and I'm just sitting there because the ugly cry didn't change my situation at all. And I was sitting there, I was so quiet, and it was quiet in the apartment. I was just sitting there with my legs crossed, on the couch, just like, Lord, I've done everything I know to do. I did everything you asked, and I'm sitting there feeling so forsaken, like, dang, man, what am I going to do? How am I going to get out of this? What's going on? I can feel that angst now. Just imagine how it was then inside me. I can still feel it from the outside, just angst, like, oh my God. And so, I kind of sensed the question, like, but did you do everything you can do? And I was like, I've done everything I know to do. I felt like I was almost throwing a tantrum over, even though the ugly cry was done, right? And then it was like, did you do everything you can do? And all of a sudden, y'all, I got it. I got this part. I didn't do everything I can do. I could learn more. Now, there's a difference between humanism and faith, right? There's a difference between building your own systems and trusting God's plan. So I'm not saying just go all off, willy-nilly on your own. Submit your works to the Lord. Again, I'm biblically based. But once I did that, I was like, oh my gosh, I didn't do everything I can do. I did everything I knew to do. And many of us make this mistake, whether we are finished in the military, A school, C school, trade school, university, master's, whatever. We feel like when we're finished with that, almost like that's the end of our learning. Y'all, it ain't. It ain't. You have to be able to think on purpose. Think is a verb. You need to be able to verb on purpose. Purpose is for a reason something's made, being deliberate and intentional. I did that on purpose. I meant for that to happen. You need to think on purpose. You need to meant for your thoughts to happen. Your thoughts are designed to serve you and not vice versa. This is a real thing. You do have the ability to reset your thought patterns. Almost 90% of what we think today, we thought yesterday, right? The majority of those thoughts are negative. It is amazing. Sometimes I will listen to people talk about other people, and I begin to pray for the person who's talking, not who they're talking about, because I'm like, if they're that hard on the other people, imagine how hard they are on themselves. We get into that and think on purpose. We get into being intentional. Don't just allow your mind. It's not the something that ran away with the spoon, the cow jumped over the moon. Listen, this isn't a fairy tale. This is reality. You do have authority over your thought life. You have authority over your thought life. You have authority over what's being sown into your thought life, how you're moving, how you're acting, what's coming in the ear gate, the eye gate, what's coming out of the mouth gate. You have authority over your gates. Do you know that the heart is also a part of a gate? Your mind is part of a gate. That's why I say guard the hearts out of, because the issues of your life are going to flow out of it. So thinking on purpose helps us with these things. Why am I telling you this? I'm not telling you this so you go to church. I'm telling you this to realize you have already been given solutions. Let's uncover them. Let's name them. Let's identify those underlying thought processes so we can think on purpose. After thinking on purpose, after saying, okay, I can learn some new things, I really began to be intentional about learning new things. I didn't know how it was going to help or what was going to work out. I just began to learn them. And as I began to learn those new things, I began to get more empowered. And I realized that life will always be in transition. And if we only look at the transition, the outside things, we will always be in a state of, we will become the Chicken Little saying the sky is falling in. And so whatever we look for is what we gravitate towards. So we're going to gravitate towards skies falling in. No, rainy clouds do have silver linings. There is opportunity in the midst of opposition. Okay. So let's think on purpose. This training program, this webinar is just to give you a few things. How you believe almost kind of fuels your actions, right? And so your thoughts will fuel how you feel about something. If you really feel like if you really think you're going to win a race, you feel good about joining that race. And then your actions will be like, no, I'm going to get in shape. I'm going to do what I need to do for this race. And then the results are going to fuel what you really believed. Same thing, inverted, is how it works when you are thinking on purpose. Maybe you haven't seen good things happen. Maybe you are from a environment where people are always broke, and even if they weren't broke, as soon as they got money, they spent it on something else. So they lived in a life of immediacy. They lived in a life of right now. They didn't know anything about delayed gratification or anything like that. However, if you begin to move according, if you begin to take actions that deal with delayed gratifications, you'll get a different set of results, which will change your beliefs about things that are money, about time, about relationships, whatever it is, you can change those beliefs. And so I just wanted to share some of the things with you quickly, hearing this, and this is where we are. This is where we are. You do not have to be taken away with the riptide of random and rage bait and just despair type thoughts. Your anxiety does not have to be at 90. Your depression does not have to be at 60. There is a way for you to think, verb, on purpose. For you to say deliberately and intentionally, I'm going to set my thoughts on these things. You can do it. That's really what UCDI stands for. I started in 1999 with it, teaching things in an extended stay. Moved on. I've had groups from 2 people in a room to being on, main stage in Vegas. By God's grace, you can think on purpose. Your journey won't be my journey, but the tools to navigate your thoughts and to make your thoughts serve you, they will work for you just the same. If you are interested in this, go ahead, just in the chat, in the comments, just put interested. And me, my team, we'll come through and we'll DM you about the interest if you want to be a part of the next cohort of this. These cohorts do not happen all the time, y'all. They don't happen all the time. But they are happening right now because, listen, it's time. Again, revising the book. I'm very excited about its release in November. I'm so excited about it. But whether you get the book or not, I want you to know that your thoughts are designed to serve you and not vice versa. And if you are breathing today, your life is not over. And just because you may go through something difficult, hard, or inconvenient or uncomfortable, it does not stop the force of who you are in this world. You are still going to impact people. You're still going to impact industries. You're still going to impact communities when you think on purpose. Guys, I thank you for sharing this time with me. It's been about 18 minutes, so we got it in under 20 minutes. Go ahead, put interested in the comments. Let's talk about it. Let's be about it. And again, have a wonderful day. My name is Sharon Combs with UCDI, which simply stands for You Can Do It. And I hope to see you soon. Remember, think on purpose.